welcome back to my channel. I'm Ginny Mae, the Intergalactic Supreme Goddess of Guest Service, and I thank you so much for joining. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I give great restaurant tips and tricks on service to up your service game, to make you more tips, to make you more money, and also to have a better time at work. I have made a takeaway video a week or so ago, and some of you have wrote into me and said, hey, can we please have some more takeaway trips? So I have 3 more tips for you, and at the very end of the video, I have an extra special tip. So actually, there's 4. Many of you are actually not on the floor working as servers or waiters, but right now working in your takeout or your takeaway. And we have talked about how you can really increase your service from there. Please check out the other video if you haven't seen it yet. But I have 3 more tips for you. And number 1 tip is to be as helpful as possible. And when your guests call in or either they come into your shop, there's some different things that you can do to increase their guest experience and also make their experience such a fun one, but also keep it really positive. And one of the ways is to be as helpful as you possibly can. Being helpful means not only acting with your body language that you're really glad to see somebody, but also in the different words that you use. For example, I would like to talk about a couple different words that I would try to avoid, and then I'll give you some different phrases and sentences that you can use instead of them. One of them that I'm not really loving so much is the word anything else. That's usually after they ordered some things and you're putting it in the bag, or maybe they're on the phone ordering some things, and at the end you're thinking, oh, are they done yet or not? And then so we spit out anything else. But you know what? Anything else to means like, are you finished? Are you done? Because I need to move on to something else. Or maybe I have another phone call, or there's another guest waiting in line that I need to help, so hurry it up, end it. But you know what? That is, of course, not what we're actually saying, but a lot of times it comes out as that is the feeling we're giving the guest when we're actually saying anything else. So a better word could be, hey, is there more that I can help you with today? Were you thinking about something else right now? And keeping it open. I mean, give them a feeling that you're ready. I mean, you could stand there all day long. You could stand there and tell them about all your different items, and you'll gladly help them with, and even though you have a lot of people in line or your phone is ringing off the hook, just please try to give them the feeling that you're gonna spend all day with them, if they have, of course, that long. The other word that I'm not really loving is the word next. And you know what, a lot of places we have, some distance that we need to keep between each other. If your shop is really small, maybe people need to wait outside, so even 1 or only 2 can come in at a time. And when you're, looking down at the counter or the cash register or whatever, and then you look up and then all of a sudden you take this guest and then they're done, a lot of times we automatically say next. But you know what, if there's only 1 other person in the room, you aren't really, shouldn't really be confused about who's the next in line. So try to be a little bit smart about it and maybe just look and say, hi, may I help you? Or are you ready right now? Or I think it's your turn right now. If you're kind of a joker, I mean, make a joke. It's like, I'd love to help you now, and make it really upbeat instead of just next. No one wants to be the next. That is definitely like you're a number, not a name. In my other video, we also talked about using people's names. I mean, let's say you don't have so much takeout and you only have 1 in the next 20 minutes and there's nobody else, and you know the person's name is David. I mean, when they walk in the door, be like, hey, David? Yeah, it's me, And how nice is it to be greeted when you come in with your first name, like they memorized your name was important, and people are really glad to see you. So of course, that's gonna increase the experience for the guest as well. Number 2 is use the most polite words you possibly can. Your mom or your grandma or somebody else probably tried to teach you some polite words. I always try to use the word please before I ask for anything. May we please ask for, $3, or may I please ask for your name, or may I please have your last name, may I please have your telephone number. All these different informations you might need for a takeout information on the phone, or when you're asking for the money at the end, try to shove a please in there. And also anything that you ask please and then the guest answers you needs to be completed with a thank you. Thank you is just such a nice positive, pleasant word. A lot of times people substitute the word thank you for okay or yeah or right, you know, but thank you is the proper polite word that we should be using more and more. When you're on the telephone, of course, it is so important to use fill your telephone conversation with the most polite words you possibly can, because that is just going to show like, wow, you're a really, you know, drawn up person in a really proper way, and people are really going to like to be doing business with you. I mean, maybe you have a lot of younger people like yourselves out there, but maybe you have a lot of older people as well, and they really appreciate when the younger generation ends up using all these positive words. It's really impressive to them. Another polite phrase I would love to talk about is may I. There's a difference between may I and can I. And I remember when I was growing up, my mom would always kind of tease me about these two phrases. I would say, can I go out and play with Louisa or whoever? And she would say, I don't know, can you? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can, I physically can, but may I is asking more of permission. So may I is much more polite, and a lot of times we get these two mixed up. Can I is, can I physically end up doing something, and may I is, may I be allowed to end up doing something. It's a very little difference, but makes a big difference in the end to use the word may I instead of can I. My number 3 tip for takeout this week is to recheck that bag. How horrible is it to order a ton of food, you have 2 or 3 bags, and you get home and you're missing a couple items, you're missing the utensils to end up eating with, you didn't have any napkins at home, the takeaway place didn't give you any napkins, and you're also missing your favorite sauce. I mean, the experience is probably totally blown. And there's not that many people that end up calling the restaurant back and saying, hey, I forgot this and this. No, what they do is they're like, we're not gonna go back there anymore. So important when you have takeout or takeaway bags, you can do it of course before the guests come in, but make sure you look through that bag again. Sometimes it's great if there's a second person doing it. It's the same as I know when I add up a lot of numbers and then I get the total at the bottom and then I'm thinking, that didn't feel right somewhere. So I add them up again and I still get that same total at the bottom, but both times were incorrect. If you have a friend or a colleague that does it, they'll do it their way, and of course, they'll come out with, hopefully, the right number. So if you can get a colleague or somebody else to check the bag that you ended up packing to make sure everything is in there, that's a really good way to double check. I would actually make a list to think, oh, do we have starters at our restaurant? Do we have mains? Do we have desserts? What else do we put in that bag? Do we put some napkins in the bag? Maybe a plastic spoon or a plastic fork? Or if there's ice cream or some type of pudding dessert, do we put in a little bit of a spoon? And think, okay, this is what we end up putting in the bag for the guests to eat. And this is also a little checklist here. And then we also may have to do a little checklist here for all the different types of food items that we have. And post that up somewhere so when you're looking through the bag, you kind of have a little checklist that you need to go through so that no one misses. I know that if you have special things for the kid, maybe it's a small soda for the kids, or maybe you end up throwing in a couple pieces of candy for kids, then you know what? Make sure if they have kids that they have the right amount of things and the things are correct in there, and definitely that all their items are in there. If there's a mini burger and a mini fries and that's for the kid, please make sure it's in there, because the worst thing is if a whole family gets home and everyone has their food, but the little kid doesn't have their right food. And a lot of times it's the kid who ends up deciding where the family's going to eat. And in these times, it's a lot of times the kids that may end up deciding what takeaway they're going to end up taking. And if you forget something in the bag, they're probably not going to call you back next time. So step number 3 or tip number 3 this week is to definitely recheck that bag to make sure everything is in there. And my tip number 4, which is the extra tip for today, is to find out if it is some type of celebration. If they call up on the phone and they're 2 people or more, maybe they even sound like an up mood, you can always ask, hey, are you celebrating anything? Hey, a lot of people are going to end up getting a really nice takeaway for an anniversary, some type of celebration, of course a birthday. What mom wants to cook on their birthday, especially when they've been cooking all the time right now? When it's my birthday, we're gonna get takeaway at my favorite place. So of course, there's a lot of people that are getting takeout at your place that are celebrating something, and you're missing all these opportunities. So if they are celebrating something, remember who they are, write it down on your ticket so when they come in, you can congratulate them on their special day, if you have a little extra time, I love to make just a handwritten card. Or maybe if they have a receipt, just write on the back, happy birthday, I hope you enjoy your food, love Ginny Mae, or the team of your restaurant, or whoever it is. It just takes a couple minutes and it makes such a big difference when they get home. Maybe there's a little card in there and they read it and it's like, oh, Team Pizza gave us this card and wished happy birthday, or wherever it's from. It makes a really big difference for the experience. And of course, if they have a great time, where do you think they're going to come back or call next time? Hey, I hope you love these tricks and you can use them next time you're working in the takeout. Otherwise, hey, if you are not working right now, but you're getting some takeout, really evaluate the situation. Was it just a blah experience or was it a really great experience? So when it's your turn to get back into the restaurants, what can you learn from there? What can you take with you so that when you get back in, you can give the best service you possibly can? I'm Ginny Mae, and thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. I'm Ginny Mae, the Intergalactic Supreme Goddess of Guest Service, and I thank you so much for watching my video. Please hit the thumbs up because it really helps our channel, and if you'd like more tips and tricks on service and how to up your service game, click here. And press on my face right here to subscribe, and don't forget to ring the little bell icon so you get a notification every time I come out with a new video. Follow me on Instagram, and let's go out and get amazing service.